व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना जय व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातिरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज विहारी यमुनातिरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा माई सुदर्शना जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा माई सुदर्शना जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा माई सुदर्शना जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पतगामी नयन पतगामी भवतु मे जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पतगामी नयन पतगामी भवतु मे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ श्री राधे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी श्री राधे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी श्री राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे जय राधा मदन गोपाल राधा मदन गोपाल राधा मदन गोपाल श्री राधे जय राधा मदन गोपाल श्री राधा मदन गोपाल राधा मदन गोपाल श्री राधे जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्णा devotees. Welcome to Zoom platform of ISKCON Seshadripuram Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today we'll be discussing 18, 19, 20 and 21st, four shlokas of 21st chapter of 4th canto. And we'll be continuing the discussion on pastimes of Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. We'll start the shloka shortly. I'm just projecting a shloka so that you can start going through and then we'll recite the shloka also. Hare Krishna. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jaya Mudire Nashtaprasho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदाम्यं ददाति स्वप्नान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्यं श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सार्वभौतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते सप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Devotees, I'll read the shloka. You can listen carefully. Shloka purport by Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. So this is the 18th shloka. Vyanjita Sheshagatrasrihi Nirme Nasthabhushanaha Krishnajinadaraha Srimana Kushapani Krutochitaha. Word to word translation by Srila Prabhupada. Vyanjita indicating Ashesha innumerable, Gatra bodily, Sri beauty, Niyame regulated, Nyasta given up, Bhushanaha garments, Krishna black, Ajina skin, Dharaha putting on, Sriman beautiful, Kushapanihi having kushagrass on the finger, Kruta perform, Uchitaha as it is required. Translation by Silva. As Maharaj Puthu was being initiated to perform the sacrifice, he had to leave aside his valuable dress, and therefore his natural bodily beauty was visible. It was very pleasing to see him put on a black deerskin and wear a ring of Kushagras on his finger, for this increased the natural beauty of his body. It appears that Maharaj Puthu observed all the regulative principles before he performed the sacrifice. We'll go to next shloka. There is no purport here, so we'll go to next shloka. Shishira snigdata samekshata samantataha uchitavanidarmurvishaha sadaha sanharshayanniva. Word to word translation. Shishira, dew. Snigdha, wait. Tara, stars. Aksha, eyes. Samakshataha, glance over. Samantataha, all around. Uchivan began to speak. Idam, this. Urvisha, Urvisa, highly elevated. Sada, among the members of family. Samvarshana, Swayam, enhancing their pleasure. Eva, like. Translation by Silgu. Just to encourage the members of the assembly and enhance their pleasure, King Prithu glanced over them with eyes that seemed like stars in the sky wet with dew. He then spoke to them in a great voice. So there is no purport here also. So we go to, just go back 2 minutes. 20th shloka. Charu chitravadam slakshnam dristam gudaviklalam sarveshamukarartham tada anuvadat nita niva. Translation by Singh. Charu, beautiful. Chitrapadam, flowery. Slakshanam, very clear. Drashtam, very great. Gudam, meaningful. Aviklavam, without any doubt. Sarvesham, all, for all. Upakara artham, just to benefit them. Tada, at that time. Anuvadan began to repeat. Eva, like. Translation. Maharaj Prithu's speech was very beautiful, full of metaphorical language, clearly understandable and very pleasing to hear. His words were all grave and certain. It appears that when he spoke, he expressed his personal realization of the absolute truth in order to benefit all who were present. Purport. Maharaj Prithu was beautiful in his external bodily features, and his speech was also very glorious in all respects. His words, which were nicely composed in highly metaphorical ornamental language, were pleasing to hear and were not only mellow, but also very clearly understandable and without doubt or ambiguity. Rajovacho, 20th first shloka. राजोवाच सभ्या शृणुत भद्रं वा साधवो ये इहागताः सत्सु जिज्ञासुरपि धर्मवात् धर्ममा वेद्यं स्वमनीषितम्. Raja Uvacha, the king began to speak. Sabhyaha, addressing the ladies and gentlemen. Shrunuta, kindly hear. Bhadram, good fortune. Vaha, your. Sadhavaha, all graces. Ye, who. Iha, here. Agataha, present. Satsu, unto the nobleman. Jignasav bihi, one who is inquisitive. Dharmam, religious principles. Avedyam must be presented. Swamani Shitam, concluded by someone, translation by Srila Prabhupada. King Prutu said, O gentle members of the assembly, may all good fortune be upon you. May all of you, great souls who have come to attend this meeting, kindly hear my prayers attentively. A person who is actually inquisitive must present his decision before an assembly of noble souls. Perfect. Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, the word sadhavaha, all great souls, is very significant. When a person is very great and famous, many unscrupulous persons become his enemies. For envy is the nature of materialist. In any meeting, there are different class of men, and therefore it is to be supposed that because Prithu Maharaj was very great, he must have had several enemies present in the assembly, although they could not express themselves. Maharaj Rutu, however, was concerned with the persons who were gentle, and therefore he first added all the honest persons, not caring for envious. He did not, however, present himself as a royal authority empowered to command everyone, for he wanted to present his statement in humble submission before the assembly of great sages and saintly persons. As a great king of entire world, he could have given them orders, but he was so humble, meek, and honest that he presented his statement for approval in order to clarify his mature decision. Everyone within this material world is conditioned by the modes of material nature, and therefore he has four defects. But although Prithu Maharaj was above all this, still, like an ordinary conditioned soul, he presented his statement to the great souls, sages, and saintly persons present there. Hare Krishna. Beautiful story of Prithu Maharaj continues. So, we'll discuss this now shortly. व्यञ्जिता शेषगात्र श्रीनियमे नित्यभूषणाः कृष्णाजिनधरा श्रीमान कुशपाणि कृतोचिताः. As Maharaj Prithu was being initiated to perform the sacrifice, he has to leave aside his valuable dress, and therefore his natural bodily beauty was very visible. It was very pleasing to see him put on the black deerskin and wear a king of Pushpagrashas on his finger, for this increased the natural beauty of his body. It appears that Maharaj Prithu observed all the regulatory principles before he performed the sacrifice. Just to encourage the members of the assembly and to enhance their pleasure, King Prutu glanced over them with eyes that seemed like stars in the wet sky wet with dew. He then spoke to them in great voice. Maharaj, Charu Chitrabadam Lakshnam Musham Guda Mushtam Gudam Viklavam Sarveshamuparkarartham Tada Anuvad Niva. Maharaj Prutu's speech was very beautiful, full of metaphorical language, clearly understandable and very pleasing to hear. His words were very all grave and certain. It appears that when he spoke, he expressed his personal realization of absolute truth in order to benefit all who were present there. Rajovacha Sabhyashrunashabhadram cha sadhava sa iha gataha sattu jidnar subir dharmamavedyam swamani shitam. King Prutu said, O gentle members of assembly, may all good fortune be upon you. May all your great souls who have come to attend this meeting kindly hear my prayers attentively. A person who is actually inquisitive must present his decision before an assembly of noble souls. Hare Krishna. So, okay. So I'm just pulling out the presentation now and slokana, and then we start the discussion. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे जयपताका स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपापदायिने गौरकथा दमदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गोपाल की जय Hare Krishna. We are continuing the discussion on the Prithu Maharaj pastimes. Pastimes in the sense Prithu Maharaj was the Shaktavish incarnation of the Lord Krishna himself. Prithu Maharaj came, appeared to display the pastimes, to basically to re-establish the uh, uh, dominance, to establish the Vedic religion on the earth, which was otherwise was disturbed by his own father, Vena king, because he was demonic king. So King Prithu wanted to re-establish the religion, Vedic religion, Vedic Sanatan culture. Of course, he appeared as a king because king only can re-establish administratively as well as making the things in order. It's a Kshatriya. Kshatriya's duty is to protect the Brahmanas, protect the Brahminical culture, cows, innocent civilians, women, and all the sections of the society, living entities, including animals, and all the trees, everything. The whole Vedic system is all, but Lord want us to protect everything. He has given us the beautiful material nature, which we can utilize to satisfy our bodily needs. And simultaneously has given us the scriptures also, which is a Vedic Vedas knowledge. Based on by following the guidance of the Vedas, we can actually elevate ourselves to Krishna consciousness, spiritual consciousness. Material nature as such is not pious. Material nature as such is not auspicious to us. Although it's a transcendental. Material nature also is transcendental. It's a divya. Because Lord, it is coming from the Lord. So whatever coming from Lord is divya. It's always transcendental. But for us, utilizing the material nature, forgetting about Lord, enjoying the senses, and exploiting this material nature is inauspicious. So, misplacing the material purpose of the material nature, misplacing our own identity is the inauspiciousness what living entity has got, which we have to rectify by changing our consciousness to Krishna consciousness from material consciousness. Whenever there is a disturbance in this object, in this mission, Lord will appear either in Avtara or indirectly, directly, various. Somehow Lord will come and we will try to re-establish the religion again. What religion? God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, ultimate religion. And at a broader and at a very technical terms, Vedic culture. Ultimately, Vedas contains all knowledge, even material knowledge, spiritual knowledge. But the purpose of Vedas is to again satisfy the Lord. So it's the same thing. Vedic culture means actually satisfying the Lord. If if we are trying to establish some so-called spiritual culture where Lord doesn't get satisfied, I have to deviate from the Lord's learning, I'm teachings. That's not Vedic culture. So it's the same thing. Now, Prithu Maharaj re-established. In fact, he re-established. Going further, the Vedic culture. He reestablished. Earth was again flourishing because otherwise natural resources on Earth were deteriorated due to impious nature of the King Vena. Citizens were happy. King Prithu kept on doing a lot of yajnas, sacrifices. Why? To satisfy the demigods. And ultimately Yajna Purush. Who is Yajna Purush? Lord Vishnu. And he was following and he was re-establishing the all the religion. And things were going on. Of course, there was attempts by King Indra to disturb this because King Indra was feeling insecure. However, Truth Maharaj handled it very well. He did not retaliate with King Indra. In fact, he forgave him. King Prithu was inviting all demigods, Lord himself, on his on these sacrifice occasions, and he was distributing charity to all Brahmanas. Ideal king, Kshatriya king, ideal. Varnashrama Dharma gives us Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Kshudra. So King Prithu was not only establishing the the only the Vedic culture, but he was actually showing how ideal king, Kshatriya king, should be, should behaving, should be, how he should be. Basically, he was a Rajarshi. So he was saintly also. He was devotee of Lord. He was pious, of course. He was truthful. He was completely non-egoistic. Very pious, very saintly king. And he was proving this by his own example. For example, when he was doing the yajna, King Indra tried to disturb him, but he forgave him. He did not retaliate. He kept quiet. He was very calm and quiet. He was resourceful. He was respecting demigods, saintly people, Lord himself. And there are prayers on the occasion of this one of the 100th yajna. Lord Krishna himself comes. Lord Vishnu comes along with King Indra also. And he forgives King Indra, and he 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 has very good, very well feeling, very nice feeling about everybody there. So he proves that how saintly person should be. He glorifies Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna very magnanimously. That proves he was devotee of Lord. Devotee, being a devotee of Lord is the highest qualification by material point of view, by spiritual point of view also. Because when one person becomes devotee of Lord, all good qualities comes into him. He doesn't have to try to acquire those good qualities separately, Brahminical qualities or good qualities, saintly qualities. No, it comes naturally by behavior because that's the pure nature. All the Brahminical qualities, all the austerity, truthfulness, kindness, and all those good qualities, cleanliness, merciful, piousness will come when person becomes devotee of the Lord. We don't have to acquire it separately. We don't have to try hard separately for this. King Prithu was proving this by his own example. King Prithu was awarded with all those qualities, and he is glorifying Lord again and again, saying that Lord is the beneficiary of all the yajnas. Lord is the supplier and provider of all these material resources. Whatever I am getting is due to mercy of Lord. And he wanted to serve the Lord perennially. He was saying, he also said, I am a king, although I have got responsibility of so much responsibility, but I don't want to remain attached to this material possessions. He's saying these are all tuchha. These are all insignificant material achievements. Although he was a king of earth, earthly planet. Forget about king of some state or some country. He was king of the whole planet. But still he was unattached to this. How it is possible? It is possible only by becoming devotee. Why? Because devotee sees everything in a right perspective. He sees, who am I? I am spirit soul. I am servant of Lord by nature, by constitutional nature. Who is Lord? Lord is a creator. He is a beneficiary, benefactor of everything. He is a provider of everything. He understands that everything is given away. So he feels that gratitude towards the Lord. Not only gratitude, it could be on a neutral feeling, but he feels very loving exchange with Lord. Why? Because that is the nature of, like son is not neutral to father. He's having loving relationship with father. And when son expresses his gratitude to father for all what father has given to him, father feels loving exchange and son feels loving exchange with father. Same thing. It's the same thing. Devotee feels. So when devotee sees that ultimately Lord is the proprietor of everything. Voktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Samudam Sarvabhutanam Shantima Achati. Means if you consider Lord, which is a fact, which is a truth, universal truth, if you consider the Lord as a beneficiary of everything, what you do, gas or whatever you do, enjoyer of everything, whatever you do, proprietor, controller of everything, then we become peaceful. Means saintly, happy, because we see everything in the right perspective. And when you see everything right perspective, obviously you will be happy because there's nothing to struggle, there's nothing to acquire. You just are happy what Lord gives to you. And that's our constitutional nature. And that is how Lord is. Lord awards devotees his devotion, his service, and be eternally happy. King Prithu has acquired this by following his uh, varnashram, following his duty as a king, but simultaneously not getting attached to material possessions. He did a lot of austerity also. To, he had so much responsibility, but he was not attached to this. Of course, he was knowledgeable because he propelled the Vedic culture, which are otherwise disturbed. So in this way, Lord, the King Prithu acquired this position of devotee. So King Prithu is glorifying the Lord. King Prithu was so magnanimous. He distributed charity, distributed all the good wealth, all the good being to the all demigods and saintly people, Brahmanas. He glorified them wholeheartedly. So ultimately, this would not have happened if King Prithu would not have remained unattached to the material possession. So this is a very important point. King Prithu is not only pious, King Prithu was not only the wealthy, King Prithu was not only the study of Vedic scriptures. King Prithu was a very unattached personality. And that is how king should be behaving. He laid down the example how king should be, ideal king should be. Because he was a Shakta's incarnation. He has this mission. He has this mission to give example, to prove by his example, own example, how the king should be. So, okay, then Lord Krishna left the yajnas after glorifying the King Prithu in reverse. King Prithu glorified, he glorified King Prithu. All the demigods left the arena, and then King Prithu has come back. He was coming from the yajna side to his own kingdom. King Prithu came and he was dethroned. And there is a description in the earlier shlokas how beautifully King Prithu was welcomed by the citizens of his kingdom. Beautiful shloka. We can understand that. I'll not open it again. Okay, I'll open it rather. Uh, we'll just go through those shlokas. I mean, we'll just read the translation. It's so beautiful. So when the king entered his city, it was beautifully decorated to receive him with pearls, flower garlands, beautiful cloth, golden gates. Entire city was perfumed with highly fragrant incense. Fragrant flower distilled from the sandalwood and aguru herb was sprinkled everywhere in the lanes, roads, small parks throughout the city, and everywhere were decorations of unbroken fruits, flowers, wetted grains, varied minerals, lamps, all presented as auspicious paraphernalia. At the street crossing, there were the bunches of fruits, flowers, as well as pillars of banana trees, betel nuts, branches. All those combined decorations everywhere looked very attractive. As the king entered the gate of the city, all the citizens received him with many auspicious articles like lamb, flowers, yogurt. The king was also received by many beautiful unmarried girls whose bodies were bedecked with various ornaments, especially with earrings, which collided with one another. When the king entered the palace, councils, kettle drums were sounded, priests chanted Vedic mantras, professional reciters offered different prayers. But in spite of all this ceremony to welcome him, the king was not at least bit affected, means got attached to this. Hare Krishna. See how beautiful the description is. Uh, the point here is Vedic culture was so, it was even from material point of view also, it was so beautiful. Now we are saying we are advancing in the material life, but actually we are not actually advancing, we are actually deteriorating in terms of even material prosperity. So there are golden gates. I mean, the description comes here. There were golden gates. Even some centuries before, our forefathers had gold, so much gold in his house, in their house, and gold, silver, copper, uh, brass. Those were the very commonly used metals. Very not like plastics, glass, and all those. Natural fruits, flowers, fragrant flowers. Now you get flowers. There is no fragrance in most of the flowers. Of course, there are some. Their fragrant flower has to be fragrant. Of course, there are some flowers which are not meant for fragrance, but there are flowers which are fragrant. So everything is there. We are slowly deteriorating. Rivers are no more flooded. They are like a very almost dry. You can understand how the material prosperity flourishes along with Vedic culture, along with spiritual prosperity also. So fruits, very tasty fruits, beautiful sweet fruits. Everywhere there is a green. We can understand this. Although this is a description, we may say we are not seeing that, but we can imagine easily, logically, that just reverse back to some years before, some 50 years before, it was more quite good actually. But now we are almost all these natural resources. There's a deforestation, there's a rivers are getting dried, there's flood, there's so many things happening. Natural resources are gone, things are taken over by plastics, all very artificial things which we don't enjoy. In fact, we suffer. And this very simple nature and the description here is just simple. Flowers, fruits, garlands, gold, all is pearls, all is given by nature and they are abundant. We don't have to really have so much elaborate arrangement. You will get it anyway by the nature's arrangement. If we live harmony with nature, nature means God ultimately. It's the Lord's nature, Lord's material nature. So we can actually by reading this description, we can get into that era at least mentally and enjoy that. And we can imagine how beautiful will be the spiritual planets, even the even the heavenly planets, even earthly planets. It should be so beautiful. Now it's deteriorating. It's a Kali Yuga. Anyway, point is we have to understand this. We have to it's a knowledge that how prosperity, material prosperity should mean. Prabhupada has explained at many places that real material prosperity means what? Prabhupada has given the definition. Prayer prosperity means metal possession means pearls, gold, grains, milk, fruit, flowers. This is a real material prosperity, which is actually coming from the nature. Not that artificially produced those plastics and those things. Prabhupada mentioned this as plastic also. And all this is all. This is not very good quality life or material life when we use so many artificially manufactured things, because it's not needed. There's no need of doing all this. Of course, little bit here and there, but because human being slowly, as a effect of Kali Yuga, human being, we are becoming so much greedy, attached to sense enjoyment. We are trying to exploit it, and in the event of that, in the event of those exploitation tendencies, all those artificial needs are coming out, because we are getting attached to all these artificial needs. But that is coming at a very big cost, and it's not sustainable. Now we started beating the drum. Oh, there has to be sustainability. Now we are depleting the resources, natural resources. Let's be sustainable. Let's preserve the nature. Yes, we should preserve nature, but how to preserve nature? We are destroying the nature and again trying to preserve, creating the problem and solving the problem. This is not a problem solving. Don't create the problem. So if you live in harmony with material nature, this nature, under the guidance of Lord's scriptures given by Vedas, it will be automatically prevented. We don't have to separately preserve the material. It is automatic, it comes. If you see, nature has got its own cycle. It comes, trees comes, seeds comes, they grow, give some water, water comes from rain. You have to only just properly take care of the readjust the thing, reorient the thing. Just be part of the whole ecosystem. Everything will come automatically. It gets resolved. We don't have to really try hard. What we have to do is not disturb the thing, at least. Reduce our intervention, unnecessary intervention. Just use it. Use it, because we are rightful. We have got right to use Lord's property because we are son of Lord. God's, but use it properly. So this is the lesson we can learn. How beautiful was those days, Vedic culture, and we can at least try to imagine, or try to, at least for hope, that we should try our best, whatever at individual level, collective level, to preserve the material nature and try to go back to this natural way of living. Nevertheless, Prithu Maharaj was welcomed by citizens. They were very happy. Prithu Maharaj was coming from this yajna to again to his city, and then he was thrown, and then he continued ruling the world so beautifully, so as per the Shastra. And further shlokas say there was one more yajna King Prithu arranged, and in that yajna assembly, he was to do some worship. So there is a description of King Prithu's bodily features. See, it's so beautifully explained that King Prithu was not only, he was full of good qualities, as we discussed. Piousness, truthfulness, non-egoistic, very able king. But his bodily features were also very good. That's also described. Like I'll just read that. I'll just read that part also. Like how beautiful the King Prithu was. I'll just read this. He stood up in the midst of assembly, and it appeared that full moon had risen again. So he has got that grace, aura, that he was looking like a moon. And his nose was straight, his face was beautiful, his personality was grave, his teeth were so beautifully set in his smiling face. King Pruthu's chest was very broad, his waist was very thick, his abdomen, wrinkled by lines of skin, resembled in construction of leaf of banyan trees. See how artistic, or usko, what we call in Sanskrit, alankar. I mean, it's like a metaphors, how beautifully metaphors are used. So the language also was so nice. His novel was coiled and deep, and his thighs were of golden hue, and his insteps were arched. His black and sleek hair, the black and sleek hair on his head was very fine and curly, and his neck, like a conch shell, was decorated with auspicious lines. He wore very valuable dhoti, and there was a nice wrapper on the upper part of the body. Very beautiful description of King Prutu, uh, how the person should look like. So very beautiful description. So just to mention that. And then King Prutu started addressing the assembly. It was so graceful. That's also mentioned in particular shloka. He was so grave and he was very merciful. He was so humble because the citizens were, some of them were saintly people, some of them were brahmanas, some of them were ordinary people. Prince were all above all of them in terms of qualification. But he was so humble, he was addressing them. And although he was knowing that there may be, always there will be some enemies, some material world, there may be some people who may not like him. But he was in general addressing everybody very gently and gentleman and very uh, high quality people. He was addressing them. And his speech was, it's mentioned here that his speech was so grave, so clear, and of course the speech comes in the next shlokas, but if you read those next shlokas, basically he's talking about King Prutu was addressing the whole assembly, saying that we should follow Vedic principle, we should follow the auspicious, we should follow the pious path of the life. And he's telling we should worship Lord personality, Lord, the supreme personality of Godhead. That's what he says, and he's saying in a very humble way. Instead of giving orders, instead of appearing as a, here, you follow me, he was appealing them, although he has that authority. And in fact, he was talking authoritatively. He was telling you, we must follow. But he was telling in a very soft way, in a very, appealing way. That was the beauty of his speech. And that is what it is mentioned in the current two, three shlokas. Okay. So he addressed those. And so basically, the thing is, when person becomes a devotee of the Lord, all the good qualities we keep coming. So we also should try to acquire good qualities. We should understand what are good qualities. Of course, that's a knowledge. But as we become devotee means who worship the Lord, who offers everything to Lord, who is always having conscious about Lord, who is always having gratitude towards the Lord, what Lord has given to us. That is devotee. And we should aspire to acquire those good qualities, because that is a real human being. King Prutu is establishing this by his own example. What should be the ideal king or even ideal human being? Not for sake of his individual interest or okay, he only is the good and others let it be. No, he is trying to lay down the example where all of us can follow. Of course, we cannot be like a King Prutu or king, may not be, but at least we should follow whatever we can to acquire those good qualities by becoming devotee. So the matter here is King Prutu was first place was a devotee, and everything good qualities followed in him. We should also follow the footsteps of King Prutu. And of course, he was a Shaktavesh incarnation. So we should enjoy his pastimes, how he always glorified Lord, always he was very humble, and how he ruled the world and re-established the Vedic religion. We also should try to, because it's a Kali Yuga, things are in chaos. We also should try to do little bit on our part to establish the Sanatan Dharma, which is the best religion on the earth, most mature religion. So we should try to establish this Dharma, Sanatan culture on the earth. Do try to do our best, whatever we can, Prabhupada has given that formula. Prabhupada has established the organization is gone. We can go chant, try to, follow all the four regulative principles. Try to develop the good qualities of Brahminical qualities, good qualities of devotees. Try to follow Varnashrama Dharma, support Varnashrama Dharma system where it's possible. Educate the people about our Vedic culture, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their nationality. Prabhupada did that. We should try to follow the Prabhupada mission, help Prabhupada mission in whatever we can. And that's what Guru Parampara means. We have to carry forward the mission of our Guru. Ultimately, rest, everything is Lord's desire. We don't have control over that. What we are doing. We have got control only, or we can decide what we want to do, to what extent. And at least we can surrender to Lord. In that mood, we should try to do the service. And rest will be taken care of. King Prutu did this. We should follow King Prutu. That's a beautiful Bhagavatam story. It will continue for some slokas, I think one chapter, one more, and then it may get concluded. But we can understand how King Prutu re-established the Vedic religion. And we should try to follow the footsteps. Okay. So these are the four slokas we discussed today. And I wanted to share my understanding on those slokas. Of course, Prabhupada's purport only recites our understanding. Then only we can be clear, and we discuss that. So that's all. So this is a discussion for today, and not many devotees could join today, but thanks Prabhuji for joining, and any question, comments from your side, we can discuss that, and then we'll close the session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Danda Pranam, Prabhuji. Thanks for a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I couldn't understand that as well telling, please enlighten me regarding this, like Prithu Maharaj re-established the Vedic religion. So what, there was this confusion. There was, what do you mean to say that all the Vedas were lost there? He re-established? I didn't get that, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. All the Vedas were lost. The followers of the Vedas who are citizens, they were become ignorant of Vedas, because if there is no Vedas available, how they will learn? The education system and Varnashrama system was destroyed. It was more of a just demoniac, like, eat all whatever you can. All it's like a typical Kali Yuga, Prabhu. Okay. So, of course, Kali Yuga symptoms. And no yajnas were performed, no scriptures were read, no Varnashrama Dharma was followed. The king Vena was doing whatever he wanted to do, and citizens were helplessly following him, his religious path. And bad effects of their sin, the natural resources were restricted, and so many problems were there. So their people were dying by hunger, all the things. Lot of thieves were flourishing. Yes, Prabhu. So it was lost. Vedas were lost. The knowledge was lost. Yes.
Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah, I got it, Prabhu. Yes.
Yes.
Now understood. Like, and Prithu Maharaj, the physical qualities, physical body, very nicely it's explained here, Prabhuji, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's nicely
oh,
explained in the
exactly.
sloka. Very
Yeah,
beautiful.
very beautiful to his eyes, and how beautiful his eyes were,
Yeah, yeah.
how merciful he used to have, and these
Yes.
things are all very
Yes.
nice. Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandapam.
Krishna. So thanks, Prabhuji, once again, and we'll close the session here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please keep joining Thursday classes. Hare Krishna, and keep enjoying the